Everybody, welcome to Two Boys in One Film. Uh,
I'm boy one.
and I
That's
guess I'm
boy
boy
two.
two.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So this is just a This is just a little video series that my friend and I are gonna be making, where we just review movies. I'd say Ethan is more of a film buff than I am. I would assume you would agree with
Maybe.
that
I've
statement.
seen Citizen Kane.
That's true. But you care more about like actual camera work and cinematography. I just care about the pretty pictures on the screen, right?
That's true.
But we both enjoy films and we like watching movies together, so we thought, why not review movies? I'm sure nobody's done that on YouTube yet, where two guys talk about a film they watched. This never happened. We're completely original. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today we will be talking about Shin Godzilla, a movie from 2016. It is the first Japanese-made Godzilla film since, I believe the 90s, maybe early 2000s. You might know more.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Mhm.
It's set in, well, I'd say modern day. It's set in 2016 when the movie came out.
Japan.
Took in Japan. Yes. And yeah, it's a very interesting movie. We're gonna be talking about it today. Talking about
First of all, badass Godzilla. Okay. I like it so far. Second, political commentary. Going back to Godzilla's roots. Okay. I'm into it. Third, and probably least important because I don't like Eva. Evangelion director directed this. Well, so he wouldn't be depressed. Crazy, crazy.
crazy.
I'd say so.
Do you know this director's name by chance?
Yes, Hideki Anno. I know it's Anno. Hideki Anno.
All right.
I'm probably major butchering it, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Anno is super popular in Japan, and everyone was like, "Hey, Anno, you want to not be depressed for the last Eva movie?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll direct this Godzilla movie." It takes a lot of inspiration from the first Godzilla movie, which I think is the second best under this. Now, that's a bit of spoilers of where I think this, how good this is. I think it's really good. I think it's the best Godzilla movie we've had. Yeah, pure devastation to a level that I have not like seen or really felt in any of the legendary movies. I really like the first legendary movie. Um, I'm not so much of a fan as the of the others. But I mean they're fun.
Yeah.
But this one specifically is so much like chaos, and you can really feel the intensity. It's weird because I remember you said I've never been interested in politics before in a movie. And
Mhm.
like this, the politics in the movie just grab you by the fucking throat.
Gives me some
You have a
time to
problem
talk.
with life?
We will definitely get more into like that political commentary further down the movie. But I kind of want to talk. I want to start from the very beginning.
Okay.
Because the movie opens up, and it's kind of tropey at first, where like they find like the abandoned boat, and there's like a bunch of uh papers and mysterious things on this boat, and like normally in most other like kaiju-esque movies, or a lot of like sci-fi movies, um there would be that thing where they find like, oh my god, there's this Godzilla out there, and there's like a bunch of cryptic messages or whatever. You'd find that at the very beginning of the movie. And then there would be about like 20 minutes of people talking about this thing, which my favorite movies ever, like the Jurassic Park series, are very guilty of this. Like there'd be show something like that will catch you, but then they talk a bunch. But in this movie, they are literally the people who find this boat are literally on the boat, and then the action starts happening. Like the first form of Godzilla, literally like shows up right there, and that's where the action starts. And it cuts to like the tunnel, and the tunnel starts like leaking in water. There's a bunch of people getting hurt, there's a bunch of cars crashing, and I think that's a really good change of pace. It kind of gets a little it kind of the movie as it goes on kind of goes against that, which again we'll talking about in a little bit. But I really like the opening, how it just like gets right into it, right into the action. There's not a bunch of waiting, because I think the people who made this movie knew that there's a bunch of talking in this movie, and it doesn't need to be at the very beginning, so they just cut straight to it. And I think that's a really nice change of pace from like other movies of this genre. Soon after that, you pretty much get a feel for the format of this movie. This movie is essentially Godzilla does a thing, and then you watch the government freak out about it and launch how incompetent they are at making decisions. And it's not necessarily their faults. Like, the democracy of Japan just requires so much of going up and down the line of command, or the order chain of command, and there's so much wasted time. And there's a couple of scenes that really emphasize it, including my favorite scene in the movie, which we'll talk about. But you get introduced to about like 600 characters. I don't remember any of their names. Like, it was especially hard because we were watching it in Japanese with subtitles, and you have to both read the subtitles, and every time a new character was introduced, there would be more text on the screen that would tell them their name and their occupation, and I could not read both of them at the same time without missing one. So I just kind of stopped reading the character introductions. But the character, like, that's the point though, that there's a lot of people that are in charge of a bunch of different things. You're not really supposed to be able to keep track of them, I don't think. But let's talk about like Godzilla, himself. I don't know if it's whatever. Godzilla in this movie, as I like to describe him, is both the goofiest but also one of the most badass Godzillas that there are. But especially so, Godzilla takes 4 different forms in the movie, and the first one is just his tail, which honestly doesn't really even count as a form, because I'm pretty sure it's just the tail of the first form, like sticking out of the water. But the second and the third form, which I'm sure I'm putting images up on screen, if not you can look it up yourself, are very, very goofy. Like, they just look, their designs, they're very interesting, but they're also very primitive, which is the point. Like, the point is that Godzilla is this ever evolving creature that can change its body to whatever its environment needs. But as a result of that, the first form is such a baby. Like, he's so cute but so stupid looking, and like he's crushing, like he's plowing through the city, and you're not supposed to like him, but he's so fucking cute for no goddamn reason.
He's just chilling. He's just a little guy going, you know?
Yeah. And then in his third form, he like kind of stands up, and he kind of like takes on his badass appearance. But he's still, his arms are funny. He's got this very blank look on his face, and he has his mouth open the entire time. And like, it's like a build-up until the final form of Godzilla. But even the final form, as cool as he is, especially when he shows off his like this movie's rendition of like the, what's it called, the beam, what is it called,
the atomic breath.
The atomic breath in this movie is super cool and is used in many interesting ways.
Yup.
And the design of this Godzilla is just so, it's so different, but it's so cool, but it's also goofy because his thighs are about like the size of skyscrapers, and his tail is like 3 times as long as his body. But then he like splits open his jaw to spit out this like purple laser of pure destruction, and he shoots it out of his back. Like, it's just so cool, but also like so different. And not saying that's a bad thing, but it's very different from other Godzilla designs.
It's my favorite design of Godzilla to date. I love Legendary Pictures, and I have a soft, but this has like a soft spot for the OG and just like its own spin. It's fantastic.
And then and then at the end of the movie, they revealed that there was a fifth form, and it turns out that Godzilla was creating little human Godzilla hybrids out of the end of his tail, which is like a cool concept, and it continues with like the whole Godzilla is uh, a ever evolving creature, but also I feel like that would have been a little too far for my taste, especially since like I like kaiju movies because of the big monsters. I think the big monsters are way cooler than like little small things scampering around, which
I
is
think the whole
interesting.
idea with the just the fifth form. Well, like I said when we were watching it, the whole idea was eventually like the fifth form was he gets wings, but he's it's not big enough or he's not strong enough in the wing department to fly yet. And then his sixth form, he's just airborne forever, and he's just raining down terror for every country, and he's just ruining everyone's day. Um, and then the sixth or like the and eventually it keeps going and going and going until he literally becomes God. Because the whole point is that he evolves, and you actually see him evolve live on stream or on screen, and it's very cool.
I
I,
would like to talk about my favorite scene in the movie. I know you touched on yours a little bit.
that's
Um,
my favorite shot. I wouldn't say it's my favorite scene though.
Oh, okay. Well, before we get into my favorite scene and yours, I suppose, I kind of want to talk about the cinematography a little bit, which is something I don't
It
normally talk
is
about or pay attention to.
fucking gorgeous.
I think, okay, if like the cinematography in this movie is very bland, um, but I think that works really well for the movie, especially in the um like a lot of the in the building politics scenes. Like it's a bunch of static shots with like that white lighting that's just like doing nothing but illuminating the building, and like that definitely works, and I think it adds to the atmosphere of the political space, and the main part of the movie. And then the outside during the daytime, like this is supposed to be as realistic as a Godzilla movie can get. And I think that it does a really good job at that. But I will say the nighttime scenes are gorgeous. Like they are so like Godzilla just glowing in the dark, and you see him against the black sky. It's so beautiful. Like he glows that red, and it's like moody red, and then all of a sudden, like when he starts activating his atomic breath, goes like bright purple, and you're like, oh shit, something's really about to go down. And then sure enough it does. And I think the dark lighting against the endlessly bright beams that he shoots is like, it's such a good contrast, and it looks so good. It's definitely not, the beams definitely aren't as cool in the daytime, but at night those are beautiful. And like they're, again, one of my favorite renditions of the atomic breath. The music, like Godzilla music has like always been good, but this movie, like, sure, they're like reprises of like old Godzilla music, but it's so good, it's so nostalgic.
Mhm.
Like Godzilla music will always be good. um and again, I mean, it's not gonna not work for a Godzilla movie if you put Godzilla music in it. So not much to say about the music other than I just really enjoy it.
I mean, I think there's a little bit of Evangelion. Maybe it's been a bit since I watched Evangelion. I actually watched it during the I watched the whole show, and then a lot of the movies, none of the reconstruction movies, but up to like two movies after end of Evangelion, which is funny. that there's 2 movies after End of Evangelion. There's 6 actually. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. It's just the scoring's amazing, the cinematography is amazing. There's so many beautiful shots. It's especially in the first half. I think the first half has some of the absolute best shots and most creative things, and then kind of in the second half, it a little bit drops the ball. It goes for more safer like close-ups that you'll see more Western things. But I mean, I love going to foreign films just to see like how they'll do other things different. It's very interesting. It's very cool. It's the reason why I love anime. It's the reason why I love manga. It's the reason why I love Godzilla. Because it's just so different, and I love the way that they just frame everything and how this system works of politics and how it's so fucking annoying to even just like in this huge crisis that's obvious. It's like I can't do anything right now without the prime minister's approval, but there's like hundreds of my citizens dying and I can't do anything about it because I have to get this approval or else I'm dead. And there's this one scene where there's this like they're about to open fire before he becomes like immune to bullets, I think. I mean, maybe he's immune to bullets, but we don't see it.
It's during his third form. So,
Yeah,
like
during his
before he
third
gets
form. He just is now able to walk and breathe air, kind of. And so he's just they're about to open fire. They get the approval from the prime minister finally, and they go through like 4 different people because it's like, hey, we're ready. Hey, we're ready. Prime minister, we are ready. We just need your approval. He's like, do it. Fucking okay. Now we're aiming in. We're about to pull it. Oh, there's like 2 people down there that have not evacuated yet. LOL. What should we do? And the prime minister's like, I don't want to kill those 2 people. He's like, everyone claps, everyone cheers, everyone say, woo! Yes! You're the best, man! You're the best! And then he proceeds to destroy everything. We see his level of destruction in that form. Because before he was just like dragging his body everywhere. And that's admittedly what he does here. But I mean, it's just the raw power it's immediately like going straight back to the idea that the Japanese government mishandled the tsunami back in 2011 because they made a similar mistake. They were like, hey, this is going to endanger some people, so let's not do that. But then they ended up killing hundreds of thousands. Not hundreds of thousands, that's a huge exaggeration. But like it's serious, like they killed way more people than they saved.
Which brings me to my personal favorite scene in the movie. So there's a point where the first time that final form Godzilla comes on land into Tokyo, Godzilla is so far into the city that they mobilize basically their entire military. And they've got tanks, they've got helicopters, they've got fighter jets, they've got artillery that's miles away. And my favorite scene in the movie, which I think encapsulates the entire meaning of the movie to me, they're about to fire, and basically you have the guys on the ground, the people who are commanding those guys, the people that are commanding those guys, the minister, and then the prime minister. And the entire scene is the people on the ground asking if they can fire, the people in command asking the people above them if they can fire, and like it just keeps on going up the chain of command. Prime Minister says yes, it goes back down the chain of command, they start firing, another problem will arise, they go back down the chain of command, tell them to stop firing, then they go back up, and it's like it's a perfect encapsulation of the entire movie to me, of how there's so much unnecessary links in this chain that they have to go up and down, that they keep wasting time and getting people killed because of it. I mean, a good few soldiers end up dying by the end of the scene. And of course, like, the military fence doesn't do anything. I mean, it's Godzilla. He's not just gonna fall to a couple of missiles thrown in his face. But it's my favorite scene because it's by far like the most exciting of those like political scenes, and it perfectly encapsulates the movie to me. And of course, Godzilla.
Somehow this movie just makes politics fun. Sorry,
it really does. Like it really exemplifies the flaws in a democracy, specifically in Japan. But I think this could be put to like even America. America is very slow at doing anything in the government, which is by design because they don't want whatever. I'm not getting into politics. And it's crazy to me that is my favorite scene because, to be honest, Godzilla really doesn't have a big role in it. He just stands there and is a bullet sponge. Like, that's the only thing he does. But it is still a very good scene in my opinion. What's your favorite scene? Or do you have a favorite scene?
God, probably when Godzilla throws a rave.
Yeah, that is a good way to put it.
I mean, it's exactly what it sounds. Beautiful night. Everyone's hopping up and down, excited. And there's lights going everywhere in every direction. It's a beautifully done, like, it's beautifully done. And like most other scenes with Godzilla in it, especially when he's CGI'd, it's not looking good already. But like that scene specifically, I think that's gonna last a long time, and it's not gonna be aged for at least another 10 years. It's just that good. They put all their budget into the fucking light show, and it fucking shows, and it paid off really well. I don't, for some reason, a specific scene isn't really popping up in my mind. To be completely honest, I kind of fell asleep. Like for like 10 minutes, because my couch is very comfy, and I shouldn't have been reclining in such a comfy couch with such a comfy little blankie. But I did. Yeah, I made that mistake. My apologies. But yeah, I don't really have a favorite scene. I have a couple favorite shots. I mean, cinematography is gorgeous. I'm a huge cinematography nerd.
I think this is a perfect segment to talk about some of the admittedly few, but there are a few flaws in this movie for me. Number one, especially during daytime scenes, the CGI can be a bit not that great.
Bad. It's bad.
I think a lot of the CGI on Godzilla is fine, but there's some like fluid effects, like blood, that just look awful. Like, it just looks really bad.
Also, you see him but fucking, what is the word? Evolving right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, when he like ripples.
It's just a weird ripple effect, and it doesn't look good.
And CGI trains, let's go.
CGI trains, those also look like shit.
But during the nighttime scenes, you couldn't tell, and it looked amazing.
Yeah, it's exactly the light show. It's fantastic. It hides most of the flaws.
The only other flaw that I can maybe say about the movie, and I say I'll get into why I say maybe. Again, Ethan and I don't speak Japanese, so it's pretty hard for us to attest to whether or not the acting in this movie is actually good.
I think the main guy was like genuinely very good.
Yeah, I want to give a lot of the Japanese actors the benefit of the doubt, because I didn't see anything too out of the ordinary except for the girl that didn't speak very good English. She was kind of bad.
Besides her, honestly, like the two prime ministers, I also think did a pretty good job, as far as I can tell.
But there are a few American characters in this movie that are not good. Every
single time I see a white guy, I just like I groan. I groan. I'm sick of these fucking crackers invading the Japanese cinemas. All right, get the gaijin out. That's what I say.
Uh-huh. I was more I don't like their acting. They're not very good.
It's
They're
like Squid Game all over again.
true.
The worst part. Also, they're Asian.
This movie's also like has a couple, not a lot, but it does have a couple funny moments. Like the first prime minister dying. Like it's so it's during like the nighttime light show.
Very anticlimactic.
Yeah,
And,
so these 5 like ministers and the prime minister get into this helicopter while Godzilla's like kind of raging out, and the helicopter just starts flying. We cut to Godzilla like starting like this super cool like shooting out of his back, and then we just cut to the helicopter, watch it get disintegrated by a laser, cut back to Godzilla, and basically nothing is ever said about it. Like
you literally asked me if like, wait, is the prime minister dead? And I'm like, yeah, he is.
It was really fun. Yeah, and there's also like the my noodles got soggy with the acting prime minister. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was very. The second prime minister.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we covered, unless there's something else you want to cover, I think we covered most of what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I'm done. The cinematography was great, the scoring was great. It was a little repetitive, but it was good.
What would you rate it out of 10?
Out of 10, probably a 7.5.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'd say 7 or 8 out of 10. Probably closer to a 7, to be honest. Like, I don't think I would watch this movie again anytime soon, because I think I would get pretty bored. But it's a very good movie, and I do recommend you watch it at least once.
We should totally watch the first movie next.
Go through the entire like 500
Hell yeah.
Godzilla films.
Fuck it. There's like 60.
That's too many. That's like
it's a lot. But maybe the first 2. I think the first 2 are genuinely pretty good. And then we do Son of Godzilla.
oh
And
my
then
God.
Daughter of Godzilla.
I don't think there's a Daughter of Godzilla.
Why not? We should make it.
Okay. Anyway, so that's Shin Godzilla 2016. Very good movie. We're gonna just, whenever Ethan and I watch movies together, we're just gonna come on Discord and just like record our thoughts about it, and then I'm gonna make a video.
Next up is a little thing called Two Girls One Cup, and we're gonna review it.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Anyway, be sure to check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/StegerX. That's the same name as the YouTube channel if you find it. Yeah, come
and
join
check
us.
out my channel, Markiplier Gaming. My channel is dying and struggling.
Yeah.
Help me out.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. And I hope we'll see you later. Bye. Say bye, Ethan.
Bye.